All right, we're live. This is The Secret: How to Fight CPS and Win. I'm attorney Vince Davis, and this is the second show I'm doing this evening. Apparently, we had some confusion about what link to use, and I was doing a show actually with people watching. So I hope all of those people are able to find me, and hopefully soon we'll be joined by my co-hosts, Miss G and Cassandra. But in the meantime, we have Courtney Ashton. Courtney, how are you?
I'm good. Sorry about the trouble. It seemed we
No,
had a little technical problem, but
no
I'm glad to
problem.
be here.
Are you a Dallas Cowboy fan?
Yeah, I figured that question was going to get asked. Yeah, I guess I can say I am, but I was always a Peyton Manning fan, true and true, but he's retired, so I went back to my roots.
Okay. So we're joined now by Miss G. Good evening, Miss G. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good. And of course, with Miss Cassandra. How are you, Cassandra?
I'm doing good.
Good. What's that background? Is that a butterfly?
Yeah.
It's a cool tapestry. I like that.
All right. So, people are posting something. 3D, this is not a refund. It was live. We were on another link earlier, and apparently somehow I got on the wrong link and was doing a show. Oh, Deidre, I see you're back. Thank you for waiting and hanging around. 3D, you're back hanging around. So, Courtney, how are you involved with CPS?
Um, well, it's kind of a long story. Basically, what happened is, beginning of this year, make it a summary short, I lost my apartment. I was trying to get back up on my feet, staying with my parents, and my ex-husband came while I was at work, and intimidated my parents into giving my boys to him, which he hadn't been fully active their whole life. I mean, he's been there, but not when it's good for him. And he kept the boys away from me and alienated me for about 2 months, no matter what I tried to do. And I found out that, there's nothing you can do about that when the parent has the same custody that you do. So basically, to fast forward it, that happened in about May. So in July, actually on my birthday, July 12th, my ex husband went to the hospital with double pneumonia in ICU, and I was contacted and told that he had CPS up there. And when I got up there, there was no caseworkers, nobody wanted to speak with me. So I just tried to contact them by the phone, and I left the hospital. Well, I proceeded to get informed by my mother how she got the information without me being able to. I don't know, but I was not able to contact anybody or get contacted back. He failed a drug test while he was in ICU. And they proceeded to, start an investigation from that point. I'd already had a year's worth of harassment. Prior to that, I had closed 7 cases due to harassment from my apartment complex trying to make me move. Um, this was a totally different thing on his part. So basically, he fails the drug test. They let the kids go back with him. They will not communicate with me, contact me back, or anything. No matter how I tried, I went up there in person, everything, to get information about what was going on with my kids, because he had cut me off completely from them at this point. And basically, fast forward to August 29th, they come back, they hair follicle my children and him, and another drug test is failed, which was completely just shocking to me, because why would he feel the need to put the kids in that situation? But either way, I have done no wrong at this point. Um, Fast forward, I'm still trying to get information. Nobody will contact me. I don't know what routes to take. And on October 8th, I'm finally contacted, or 7th maybe, I'm finally contacted by a family finder for the Engage system for Texas, which is basically the foster care system, saying that they're trying to locate a missing person, which is me, and I'm not a missing person. Um, then a few days later, the caseworker contacts me. We speak, and she informs me that in 2 days I'll have a court date, and I'm served the day before my actual court date, but there had already been 2 more prior hearings. So that's where I stand right now. To give you a long story short, in October they went ahead and had 2 hearings without me. Never contacted me, never made communication with me, and I'm being held as a abandoning parent, and my kids are being withheld from me now because of it. So that's kind of a, not to ramble, but I haven't got to even speak my voice on anything. I went to court and they were so rude to me. My ex-husband falsified so much on me, and it's just been a nightmare. It's been such a nightmare. So that's kind of where we stand. I just got all this stuff thrown on me at one time. They had an adversary hearing without me. They had a family meeting to make a family plan and falsified information saying that I was present and said this, that, and the other that I did not say in the paperwork. It says that my statement was written as if I were there speaking for myself. But then at the end of it, it says, but she could not be located, so it contradicts. It's just all sorts of little things like that that they're doing to make me look bad, and I don't understand why. So
That
that's
sounds
kind of
a
where I stand right now.
lot. That sounds familiar to what I went through a little bit at the beginning of my case. It sounds really familiar. Like, so I totally know where you're coming from. Like, they alienated me. They didn't want to talk to me. They made sure that the father got more services, like, and knew about his services more than I did. Like, and then they told me that I couldn't do anything, that I just had to deal with it. And he's the one that got them taken.
Right.
Not me.
Right.
So
I literally
totally feel
closed.
you.
I'm looking at my paperwork now. Like they have all this information incorrect in my like I said, I got served the day before the third hearing. When I say third hearing, I mean, you have your adversary. I guess I'm learning about this myself, but you have your adversary. Then you have, I guess, what they did, the planned parent meeting or whatever for the family plan without me, but yet acted as if I was present, as I said. And then when we go to the court hearing on the 7th or the 18th, excuse me, at this point in time, I had been talking to my caseworker for about, like I said, a few days at this point. She was so adamant to get me to sign that case plan prior to going to court. She said that was the only way that I would get my court appointed attorney. And I'm like, well, that sounds strange, but I'm not signing anything until I get an attorney because I feel like that's my right to have, the equal representation that everybody else has from the beginning to, make sure that I'm not jumping into anything or signing. I just want to make sure that I'm being treated as fair as everybody else was from the beginning. But when I go into court, the judge pretty much looked at me like I was a moron. Based off all the horrible things my ex-husband lied and said on me, I can't blame her. But also because I asked her if I could reschedule the hearing when I had an attorney, so I had equal representation because I was the only one there without anybody beside me. It was very intimidating. And she said absolutely not. They didn't have the time for that. And she said I would have to file for a court-appointed attorney after the hearing, but we were going to go ahead and conduct it. And they carried on and didn't even let me speak. They just acted as if I wasn't even there. It was just horrible. So
it's unfortunate, but a lot of women go through this. I just want you to know that. I believe with all my heart that the court system is against women, mothers, because they treat women so poorly, and they treat women like they're criminal. And I kid you not, they're not taking children from good parents. They're bad parents. They're taking children from good parents. 100%. And even though I'd say this a lot to you guys, but it's proven. It's becoming more and more proof on social media, all over the news now. So this mother did absolutely nothing wrong. Nothing wrong. It was the fact that she took her child to the hospital because the child had the flu. The social workers are removing children just because they can. And the problem with this is that everybody now talks about the massive incentives that they get from the federal government. This is happening a lot. Every day, mothers are being attacked every single day. And oftentimes the fathers who are the abusers, I'm not saying all dads are abusers. I loved my father. He was a great father and a great husband. However, a lot of men who abuse women and they don't want to pay child support, the first thing they're going to do is report the mother. Make sure that they have enough allegations against her. And guess what? The system doesn't do checks and balances. They don't give a shit. The social worker can easily go to court and the judge will take her fucking opinion in court without anything proven of her fucking opinion. And social workers are the ones that I told you guys a million times. They're the ones who wear the black robe in the courts. No judges make the decision. Mr. Davis might disagree with me on that, but we always disagree with each other. I have my own opinion. He has his own. as an attorney. Okay. However, the judges are not the one wearing the black robe. The social workers are.
And I
This,
don't know about. I
this
didn't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. What did you say?
I was just saying it's just to add. Like I don't know about where from y'all are from, but like I didn't know CPS had its own court. Apparently, like civil court and CPS court are kind of like two different things in Texas, if I'm not mistaken, the way I'm taking it. But like I said, I got thrown into a court date the day before. And, I actually personally know the constable that serves in our county. My family does. And we've had previous things with the attorney general's office for my ex-husband, for child support, things of that nature. I've never been hard to serve. They had plenty of opportunity to serve me. They said I was not locatable. Well, the constable said he'll vouch for me on this part, that he's never had a problem serving me. That he knows my family personally from going to school with this kid, and there's never been an issue with that. But that's just ludicrous, and they're just trying to make me like I am an absent parent. I've been devoted to my children. So I agree with you, because that's all that, I walked into that courtroom not knowing until the day before when I read the what I was served with, that the terrible lies my ex-husband said on me. And I wouldn't blame a judge or anybody in that room not to look at me like I was a nut. It was just horrible.
Don't say that. Don't say, Courtney, that you don't blame a judge. I do.
Well, I
blame
mean, like, because it's biased. Like, if somebody lied and said the things that my husband had said on me, ex-husband said on me, oh my goodness. I mean, it was just horrific.
No. It doesn't matter what he says about you. They can't just take one word or opinion of somebody
That's
else.
what I thought. But they were so biased against me.
They are biased. It's not going to stop. This is
Well,
happening in Montana. It's happening in Arizona. It's happening in Las
yes,
Vegas.
ma'am. I've been researching it, like I said, not to cut you off, but for a whole year before my ex-husband had our kids taken, I had harassment of CPS cases, a plethora of them that are listed in my falsely written in my whatever you call this, the docket that they serve you. But a lady had just asked why I didn't call the cops.
Mm-hmm.
It's a civil matter. They won't get involved. I tried. I've been through this, a similar situation with a friend. So I already knew whenever it came down to me actually experiencing it, that there was nothing that I could do about it. I'm custodial. He's non-custodial, but we have equal rights. We never have been officially divorced. I couldn't go back on that property. If they wanted to call the police for me showing up on the property, they could. They had more right to do that than me to go on there and take my children, because they were in no immediate danger at that point. There was nothing I could do about it. He came and snatched them when I was at work, and my parents or the grandparents, they had no rights. They had to turn them over. They were just trying to not cause my children any distress, and it just ended up, they didn't think that John, because he's been absent, they didn't think that, but they didn't think he would do that, I should say. I didn't mean to name drop, but it's just been a nightmare, and I just don't know what to do. They're not helping me at all. They're acting like I don't care about my children, and I'm not trying to comply, because I don't feel like I should have to just jump on board with their family plan of agreement that they made without me present.
Do you have an attorney assigned to you?
Finally, like I said, the court date was October 18th. I tried to find an attorney all the way up until I could not afford it. They assigned me one finally in the middle of November, after I filled out the indigency form immediately after the court date ended. I mean, the court session ended that same day, and it took them to the middle of November, even after I called them every other day asking if they had pushed it through. But finally I did, and I did finally meet with her. I guess it was 2 weeks ago, and she made it very clear to me that she is not, she's doing this because she has to. It's an obligation of the court, not because she wants to. So she made it very clear that I had yet another person not in my corner, that was not there for me and my children's best interest, but rather because it was an obligation. But, the court pays them. It should be a conflict of interest, in my opinion. A court-appointed attorney, they're not going to be on my side. I'm not the one writing their check. That's the way I feel about it. She's been very rude.
I just I want to share something with you guys real quick, Courtney, and I think you should listen to this. Okay, there is it's called 32 News. 32, I guess it's called 32 Channel News. They're doing a lot of investigation about CPS cases and corruption in CPS. And I want you guys to hear this real quick. There was a formal associate of family services that brought forward documentation that shows an alleged pyramid that accommodates a financial manipulation of CPS funds. Experts in the field are hearing about forced placement of children with foster parents when allegations of abuse in the facility are brought to CPS attention. The former employee of CPS also has come forward with information showing a tend of favoritism and even connection of corruption. Why am I echoing? Okay. Can somebody be muted here? Hello, anyone? Am I here by myself?
We hear you.
Okay, well, I hear an echo. So, Davis, can you mute people?
Everybody's muted except for you.
Goody. Okay, so the formal social worker that I was mentioning to you guys, she came out and presented documents to prove the corruption in CPS, Department of Child Services. Also, that formal social worker testimony has been turned over to the Inspector General's office for review. Okay, so there's a lot of corruption. I want you guys to understand it's not just California, it's not just Texas, it's not just Minnesota, Minneapolis, Chicago. It doesn't matter. It's all over the United States. Now they're having it in Canada, United Kingdom, and Hawaii, and somewhere in Africa. I forgot the name of the country, but it's in Africa. The corruption is increasing. They're making it worldwide. I want you to know there's a lot of incentives. Most of the incentives that social workers get is from adoption. That's why they always enforce adoption. When the judge makes a decision, the judge makes a decision based on an opinion of a fucking piece of shit social worker standing there making false allegations against the mom, against the father, against the family member, against the grandmother, whoever it is, just to get what they want. So when I tell you guys they're demonic, only a demon has the balls to fucking do that with family. You don't fucking snatch children from their family and just sit there and watch. What is the purpose of a fucking judge in the courtroom if they can't fucking make wise decisions when it comes to tearing apart families? Anyone can make allegation that is false. Any fucking person. And they will take their opinion and run with it. And here comes the funds from the federal government. And you don't know where your fucking dollar is going. Is going to pay these motherfuckers sitting on the bench making fucking decision on your own family where your own money is actually fucking paying for them to steal your fucking life away. That's our fucking United States of America. This fucking shit exists. A lot of attorneys say, oh, I spoke to an attorney in downtown. I will never forget that. I was pretending to be a client, like a potential client. I wanted to see how they react. I was shopping around to see how other law firm handle cases. And this asshole said to me, oh, we don't touch CPS cases because, it's very hard and they're never wrong. Really? Never wrong? So basically, other attorneys see you as a fucking criminal because they believe the system works. See, this is the part that fucking pisses the fuck out of me. They think the system works. The system doesn't work. You have to be a dumbass new attorney to think the system works. And that idiot has only been doing law for like 4 years. Doesn't have any fucking clue about CPS laws at all. So the system wants to intimidate you, wants to bully you, to make you think you're fucking delusional, you're crazy, and you're making everything up and you're out of control. That's exactly what they do. You know what they do also? They send people to follow you to the supermarket. They send people to follow you to the fucking, I don't know, wherever you go. And they send people in front of your home to actually sit there in their cars, pretend to be on their fucking phone, making calls or whatever the fuck they're doing. What they're doing is keeping an eye on you. So where's your tax dollars going really? Paying what? The foster parents? Huh? Paying the fucking foster parents so they take children from a mother that has a 1 bedroom, but yet they put the children with a foster parent that has 1 bedroom? That makes absolutely no sense. Then they tell the fucking parents, hey, you need to get 2 or more bedrooms, right? So you can get your kids back. But why are the kids placed in a foster home with just 1 bedroom? Why? It doesn't make any fucking sense. A mother takes a child to the hospital for a fever. Why in the fuck are they saying that the mother neglected the child? If the mother neglected the child, why in the fuck would the mother take the child to the hospital? Common sense, you pieces of shit. Social workers all over the fucking world, you guys are scumbags. I wish to God I can see you one by one, just one by one, and examine your psyche. You guys need a therapist. You guys need a psychiatrist to examine the fucking shit that goes on in your brain. And most social workers, most of them, from the person that I talked to that was a previous social worker, she told me most of them have family issues, meaning a lot of them hate their mother, a lot of them hate their dad, a lot of them hate their grandmother, a lot of them hate their uncles and aunts. So when they see a case that involves the mother, they're going to fuck with the mother. If they hated their mother, if they see a case about a father, they're going to fuck with the dad. If it's a case about the dad and they had a bad relationship with their dad, so basically what they're using in their old past against you to destroy you. And those are the kind of people that fucking get hired by the Department of Child Services. Another thing that I mentioned to you guys on my show before, I fucking hate them. One of my friends' daughter graduated from UCLA, went to the LA County Department of Child Services to apply for a job as a social worker. The fucking supervisor told her she can't hire her because she did give her psych evaluation or some kind of exam, and she came back as 98% or 90 something percent compassionate. So that girl, my friend's daughter, said, so what kind of people do you hire here? Are you hiring what? Narcissistic, sociopathic individuals? The supervisor laughed and said, you could say that. So they don't hire normal people. They hire people that have issues, because normal people that have common sense, compassion, right? They actually dig for the truth and they actually investigate a case. Those ones are not going to make the company the money. These entities strive on children to be taken, stolen, to be sold for profit from the federal government. Without that profit from the fucking federal government, the fucking entity is not going to stand. It's going to destroy. So in order for them to keep the fucking entity together, they're going to steal children, fabricate information, you name it. They give classes to parents for no reason. What the fuck is it's like the way they do the classes that's mandated, it makes you lose your fucking job, lose your house, and then they tell you you don't have a place for your children and you don't have a job to support them. But they want to make sure you have a job so you can pay child support for the kids that you don't fucking see to the fucking foster parents, which is fucking insane. While the children who are being fucking abused by the family members are left with the abuser. So how can they even be any type of normal in this department? Children and Family Services, they're neglecting abused children, but yet they're taking good children from good family to be adopted because they're easily adopted. And you guys, when you're going through a CPS investigation case, you guys are not thinking clearly because you're emotional. You're literally going out of your mind. And as a parent, I understand how a mother feels. I fucking understand. But you guys need to put your thinking hat on, start researching. Don't just make a move, then call me and say, oh, it's too late. I did exactly the opposite of what you were saying. You guys have to make sure you understand before you fucking call a social worker or even give an ear to a social worker. Don't call family law attorneys. These motherfuckers don't know what they're doing, apparently, because I did my own research last month and I found out they're fucking stupid. Just stupid. They'll take a small retainer from you. They don't know what the fuck they're doing. Then a week later, they say, okay, well, we need $6,000 so we can continue the case. But they didn't do anything. So what's the point? So I need you guys to understand research. Don't judge people that lose their children, because a lot of people who judge lost their own kids. And I actually hear stories from them. You know, Miss G, I used to judge mothers. Now my kids are gone and I know how they feel. You guys have no idea. America has no fucking idea. Fucking America, don't have a fucking clue what Americans are doing. That's what fucking blows my mind, is that we as Americans make fun of other countries, other cultures, but yet your own country is so fucked up because you're not taking care of your own people. Your own children. The ones that actually pay your salary are the ones who are getting fucked. That's America. That's all I have to say. I'm done.
We're all muted. Sorry about that.
Okay.
Now you're not muted, Courtney.
It's okay. I was just telling her, well said. Research is so imperative. Like I said, this whole thing that I'm being dragged through where my kids, I fought so hard. I was unfairly evicted from my apartment complex. I was on HUD housing. They were stealing our utility checks. Long story short, I reported them as I was advised to do by the HUD department. Me and a couple other tenants were going through that. From that point forward, last year, when I did that, the apartment complex, I guess, got in trouble. So they made my life a living hell at that apartment complex. Like I said, I got anywhere from at least 5 to 7 attempts to a case that I made sure I studied my rights. I did not comply the first time. The second time, I didn't have much of a choice because my apartment complex actually, if you'd believe this or not, this is another story in itself, set up a situation to work with my apartment complex with CPS to make it look like because I was at a job and my boyfriend at the time, who is my youngest son's father, was at the house with the boys. They set up a scenario to try to get CPS involved in our life and try to take my kids. Then I closed numerous cases because I knew my rights and defenses, and they had nothing. I complied, let them in my home. I had nothing to hide, passed the drug test. There was no issue there. But then all of a sudden, my ex-husband comes along and thinks that he's just going to come and just decide that he can be a parent when it's good for him, snatches up my kids while I'm trying to get on my feet and work. And, my parents are wonderful people, don't get me wrong, but there wasn't a whole lot that they were just trying to do the right thing. They just didn't want conflict. And I get that because, it's not like it was the first time he'd ever had my kids. I mean, he sees them, like I said, when it's good for him. And that's a fine line to walk in itself as a parent, not wanting to keep your kids from their parent, but also not wanting them to be an option. So my parents were trying to do the right thing, but it ended up being a nightmare for us in the end because I have always had my children. My children are 7 and 3 years old, and I haven't got to see them since June, and I have been with them every day since they've been born, and it's just been the most cruel thing. My ex-husband was letting me talk to him on video chat, and I even walked a 10-mile walk from where I was staying because I didn't have a vehicle to see my children, just to be met at the gate by his parents and told I was not allowed on the property. He would have me get their hopes up there and see their mother, and then I would get there and they would just tell him, oh, your mom didn't come, I guess. I mean, I don't know what sick motive they had. But what I'm not understanding is why I'm being punished for his wrongdoings, what he did, when they never contacted me initially, and I did everything I could to try to reach out to whatever, I was calling CPS, and apparently I needed to call to engage the whole time. And they were just, they could have transferred me. They knew where my case sat. They knew that nobody would work with me, and they acted like I just didn't give a damn. And then come at me hard in October trying to get me to sign this plan that, come to find out, whenever the court's all said and done and they still haven't given me a lawyer, and I'm sitting there filling out my indigency form, they add another paper on top of this family plan service I'm looking at right now that she was not showing me when I first came to court. And she's trying to get me to sign falsified statements from myself when I wasn't even present at this meeting. Thankfully my children are with family. They're not with some strangers, and they're really good people that they're with. But my babies need to be with me, and this whole situation has not been ideal. I've just been made out to be just a loser, and there's only so much time to explain such a long situation. But what it comes down to is, I was court ordered to do a hair follicle and a drug test. I was court ordered to do a plethora. I have a paper, like a packet, of crazy crap, psychiatric evaluations. They told me on the phone when I was talking to my caseworker, it's great, move back in with your parents, get on your feet. It's not ideal as a grown adult, but it's okay. You don't have to do this alone. And then the other day, I contact them and tell them that I'm going to do this. I'm going to move back in with my parents, and I'm going to, because I'm having a hard time doing this, without any support. And they tell me that if I move back in with my parents, that their rights to see my children will be completely terminated, and I am not allowed to be on that property, period. So they went from they saw that one little glimmer of like hope I had to get on my feet and snatched that from me at the risk of my parents not being able to see their grandchildren and them not getting to have that one connection to me that they have left right now during all this. It's just been completely, just reading through this family plan service, just all the lies and the things that they've said but then they're saying I was not present or locatable, but they were going around taking pictures of me like Miss G was talking about. My ex-husband was snapping pictures of me when I was walking to job, just trying to survive in the heat and humiliating me, ridiculing me on Facebook and sharing them with each other. But they didn't know where I was at. I wasn't locatable. I was always locatable. I would have did anything. I may not have had a phone, but my boss was trying to help me. They could have reached them and I would have immediately contacted them. Like, I was doing what I could do. I had my whole world ripped out from underneath me at the beginning of this year. I lost everything. And me and my kids were trying, at my parents' house to get back up on my feet. And then that ex-asshole of mine goes and just makes everything a nightmare after I fought so hard to get CPS out of our life. And here we are right back to square one.
Do you have an attorney that's representing you?
It's a like I said, court-appointed attorney, and she made it very clear she does not want to help me. She's just doing her obligation. I haven't even got to do any of my drug tests or any of that because I don't mind doing that, but I don't feel like I should have to prove. What I'm getting at is they waited till so late in the game to even contact me about my own children and give me the option to take my children rather than my family take them. And he didn't have to jump through hoops when I had my other cases open, when I was dealing with CPS myself. So why am I having to pay for his mess ups? I don't understand that.
The attorney told you that she's doing her what again?
She said her obligation, basically. She made it very clear this is an obligation.
To make sure you lose your child?
That's what I feel like. She's not advocating for me. I mean, I'll pass a drug test. It's not an issue. It's just a matter of I'm court ordered, and I feel like that judge told me there's nothing I can do. I'm court ordered not to change my hair. I can't move out of the county. I have to have a phone. And that's fine. But like, this was all thrown and slammed in my face at one time. And John, excuse me, I'm not trying to keep name dropping, but my ex, he sat there and he was able to have the adversary hearing and the family plan meeting and get at least some kind of. I just got thrown in the mix whenever I was ready to, take this situation on the day on my birthday that he tested positive in the hospital. And if they thought that he was such an unfit, mind you, he had a warrant put out for him 2 days ago. Okay. He's been following his family plan and all that. Well, the only reason I haven't was because I didn't get to get an attorney until November to overlook my family plan to make sure I wasn't being screwed. I felt like I was protecting my rights and the best interests of my kids by making sure that I was being treated fairly, because I hadn't been treated fairly up to this point, right? They put a warrant out for child endangerment, and he's on Manhunt Monday in our county for child endangerment and child abandonment. But they've been letting him see the kids every week. They have not been letting me see them because I have not enacted on my family plan until I saw that lawyer the other day. And they're acting like he's an endangerment to the child too. So now I feel like not only is there a chance that I'm going to get my rights terminated, but he is too. Not that I necessarily want, I just want my kids to be with their parent. I mean, I feel like I'm losing right now. Like, nothing I'm going to do I'm going to lose my kids regardless. They're not working with me. Now they're sitting there trying to say he endangered the children. Well, why did they let him have the children back after he failed that drug test initially on my birthday, July 12th? Why, if they thought he was such a danger, did they not wait until August 29th drug test the children and him and say, oh, we're going to snatch your children up and we're going to replace them. And why is it now we're in December, and they're just now issuing a warrant and saying I get if my children were exposed to drugs, hell yeah, ream him. I'm sorry, but that's how I feel. And after everything he lied and said on me, and he's actually been proven to do, he has the criminal record. He has he's the reason that this whole situation has started.
Hey, Courtney.
But I don't get it. What is it? What does it take for me to get my rights?
It doesn't matter who started what. I think you're making them focus on him.
And I'm not. What I'm trying to explain, though, is that the focus is 100% about my children.
I saw that smirk, but anyways, Davis, no, but that's what they hear from you. That's what they hear from you, is that when you keep, I'm sure you told the social worker, why am I being punished for something you did? Is that something that you didn't write it up to the social worker?
I haven't had a chance to say anything. That's why I'm kind of rambling here. That's what I'm trying to explain to you. I was not allowed to speak about, or they didn't give me a chance to say anything. I have not had a chance to represent or say anything. If I didn't comply with that family plan, they didn't want to talk to me. They will not communicate with me. They said, unless it's to discuss me enacting the steps. Well, I couldn't do, I felt like I needed to have a lawyer to do that. And I think that was my right.
You need to get a private attorney.
I can't afford one. They were so expensive in this town. Because I wasn't just sitting here with my thumb at my butt, while I was waiting. I tried.
What's the name of the city or whatever you want to call it? County.
We're in Wichita County, Wichita Falls.
Is that close to?
I'm 2 hours from every major metropolitan city. I've contacted some of the bigger cities. See, this is what's scary, to touch base on what you were saying earlier too. Whenever I went to go see
an attorney, Courtney, in Texas.
I'm sorry?
Matthew Harris is an attorney in Texas.
Okay.
That actually knows Mr. Davis.
Okay.
Mr. Davis had him on the show once or twice, maybe. I'm not sure. But I think you need to contact his office. You can Google his name. His name is attorney Matthew Harris. I actually had the pleasure of speaking with him. A very swell guy, very nice guy, and he's a great attorney in Texas.
I hate to ramble like I'm doing, because I know I'm doing that, but I haven't had my voice heard. And the lawyers, when I was looking for a private attorney, $5,000 retainer fee. I had a friend willing to help me somewhat, but he can't afford $5,000.
Enough, Courtney. People think $5,000. That's not going to be enough, mommy.
That's what I'm saying. I can't afford it, and they know that.
It's not going to be enough, because your case is like, when you're dealing with CPS, you're dealing with state and county, and that's pretty big. That's very big. People think the 5,000 is going to make sure everything is handled on the case. So
I understand.
So basically, financial help should come from all the parents, from all the family members. In my opinion, all the family members should be getting together and helping each other. That's just my opinion. Because what they do is they turn the family against itself, so that way you have no financial help or no support from anyone else. And oftentimes I get calls from family members who want to help their kids or their grandkids, and then all of a sudden the social worker gets to their head, and then it discourages them from actually helping them. And that's wrong, because you guys are allowing the social workers to run your life. On top of that, they promise the grandparents they're going to keep the children with them to keep them quiet, until they get what they want. And then all of a sudden they get an anonymous call, the social worker that made it, and says, oh, we're going to take the kids from the grandmother. So while the grandmother trusted them to begin with, you know what I mean? And did everything they wanted, because they promised her or him or grandparents in general false information. They just give them false hope. And then that's how they retaliate against the family. But first, they have to set you guys apart for no support. And I hope to God, Courtney, your family is listening to this, and your friends, because they don't see the social workers coming at them. They're very clever, very deceptive, very creative with their manipulation, and they know what they're doing. It takes a demonic person to actually create what they do. It takes a very demon, right? A dark demon to do what they do. So please understand, family, I hope you're listening. Do not fall in the trap of the social workers. I don't care if the father and the mother don't get along. The grandparents should come together in one hand and help them out. The grandparents, I'm talking about paternal and maternal. This is the time where you guys unite. Forget all the differences that you guys have. But that's when you need to reunite in order for you to be stronger, to be able to help that mother or father or both to gain custody of their children and stop this bullshit shit talk with the social workers and get it together. Period. That's it. That's your flesh and blood. Doesn't fucking matter how you feel. That's your flesh and blood. Go ahead, Courtney.
My mic is okay. So I'm going to make, because I know we're running out of time, I just want to make a few key notes because I've been reading everybody's comments. So I agree 100% with you. One of the ladies said, she said, I'm wasting, valuable time. But you need to understand that I was not given an attorney or given proper, chance to start, like I've already repeated, until like whenever November. That's whenever it was, like I think November 15th or something. And I've been waiting to have my drug test scheduled. But what it's a line you have to walk, like what you're saying, Ms. G, is that yes, that lady's right. I need to get on the ball or I'm gonna lose my kids. But at the same time, why am I having to entertain CPS when I'm not the one that did anything? Like I could have proved, from the jump that I was, other than losing my home, I was able to stay with my parents and have my children and they were safe. They even note in this whole thing that the kids were observed to be clean, healthy, and happy at my parents' home. My parents do not have the kids currently. It's my cousins. But they're telling my parents that they can't even see the children if I move in and try to get on my feet with them. So I'm having to, be out here struggling. And I don't understand why, they've done this. They don't want our family to be united. They have sat there and done exactly what you've said. They've contacted my parents and lied to them, scared them, threatened them, and they shouldn't even be communicating with my parents. I'm a grown adult. My ex-husband and me had a good relationship up until he snatched my children. I didn't ever have any problems with him. This is not it's not I don't have hate for him. I'm upset with what his choices were to get us in this situation, but we can't change that now. But what is being done to him and I both are unfair. I'm not on any sides here. I want what's best for my children. And I want us to both be able to be active in their life like we should be. But they don't want that. They're trying to, like you said, separate us 100%. My parents told me that. They think I'm crazy. Like they said, when you go on this live, you're going to sound like an idiot because, I'm like, Mom, Dad, why would you even say that? They don't even know what's going on or what kind of abuse I've taken from CPS. It's causing me to the point that I break down and cry daily from the PTSD of the harassment of the caseworkers, the loneliness, the isolation that I've faced. But I have my children, and it's been a nightmare, man. And like just looking at, I want to read one thing to you if I could, and then I'm done rambling. But like the family plan service agreement, the reason I did not sign it originally before I had a lawyer was because it says on September 29th, 2022, that this was prepared. Mind you, they were claiming they could not find me. I was a missing person until October 8th. Even though I had been contacting CPS office not to engage with CPS, I didn't even know what to engage was at the time. So that means that my ex-husband and I guess the people that have my children, my cousins, and the ad litem's and the caseworker were all together. And they say no consensus was met for the family discussion due to Miss I'll leave my last name out, not stating that she wants either child 1 or child 2 back in her care. I reported that I abandoned my children due to my significant drug use and not being able to care for them. That's what I'm facing here. These people are lying and saying these things on me, but yet I was not even present. Then it goes down to say that I'm not able to be located. Okay, isn't that a little contradictory? You're saying that I was present and said this, and this, that I didn't want my children, I didn't want that. And then it goes on just to state about how John did, or my ex did this, my ex did that. But it don't say anything against me negative, and it doesn't say anything that, I have to, really, it doesn't say I have to comply with anything. But then it goes back and says to get my children back, I do. Everything that they're complaining about and saying that caused the children danger was on my ex, not on me. But I'm being held as if I'm the piece of crap. He lied and said that I drugged my kids and framed him and everything. I mean, horrible lies. It was shocking.
But that's what I was trying to tell you, Courtney, earlier, is that they treat the mother like a criminal, even though the mother didn't do anything. Before you know it, guys need to pay attention to your reports, because oftentimes the reports are copy and paste from somebody else's reports. Copy and paste. There's reports where the mother's name is Nora Hernandez, the children's name is Oscar and Louise, and the mother's real name is Lisa Brown and Cristiano and Adam, the kids, right? So where in the fuck did they get Nora Hernandez? Copy and paste. Because the report under Nora Hernandez, completely different report. It's not even at all you fucking life. They're like copy pasting somebody's life, putting it on you. The judges rule on, oh, okay, well, social work is right. Let's take the children. They're so fucking stupid. Judges make me sick. CPS judges make me want to vomit. I swear to God, they lack more than common sense. They literally lack just decency. I don't have the words. I just can't find it. They're stupid. They're stealing children. They're allowing the social workers to run the show. Why don't the social workers wear black robes and walk around stealing children while the judges wear skirts and a t-shirt? I mean, that's something I would like to ask a CPS judge. You know, why are you not looking at facts? Facts, motherfuckers, facts. Look at the reports. Look what the fuck they do. Attorneys in CPS, do your fucking job. You fucking pieces of shit. You get paid whether you work on a case or not. You guys are assholes on so many levels. Assholes, because your background is what? Let's see. They get attorneys who have a background of immigration laws, fucking defending a CPS case client. Really? You don't know shit about CPS? No wonder your ass is standing there saying, "Okay, Your Honor. Yes, Your Honor. Okay." That's all. That's it. And you fucking get paid for this shit? And you wear your Louis Vuitton bags and fucking bags and belts and all this fancy shit? A fucking social worker is driving a Lexus now. A Lexus. Crazy, huh? A social worker is driving a Lexus. Crazy, right? All the incentives that they get, all the bonuses that they get at the end of the year, making all that much money just to steal children. And the judges, I call them stupid. Why are they stupid? If you guys do the definition of stupid, knowing the truth, seeing fucking evidence of the truth, and they still believe the lies that's coming out from the fucking demonic worker. That's exactly our judicial system, and that's how it's ran. And they create rules in their fucking courts to violate your rights, and then they end up saying, "Oh, well, we did the best we can for the best interest of the children." No, motherfuckers, you did the best interest for you, for your own pocket. That's what the best interest is going towards, not for the children, not for the parents, because you couldn't care less about these kids. You couldn't care less about these parents, because there's a lot of children who are being abused in foster homes, and you fucking asses are not doing anything about it. That's our judicial system. And that's it.
I love Miss G's passion. I do. I agree with her. You know, it's just so scary. You don't even understand. Like I can't even have enough time to explain all the, you know, there's a lot of holes in my story because, you know, I'm trying to summarize, but I was literally like, they were just keeping information from me, and then all of a sudden, plop, they slapped me into a case, and I don't know what to do.
Courtney, we're coming to the end of the show.
Right.
Were there any questions you wanted to ask me?
Can I change courts? I seen somebody commenting that, and that's, the Supreme Court,
Well, let me
which,
answer the question.
go ahead.
Before I answer that question, now I'm getting, what do you call it? Echoing.
You can turn off my mic. Go ahead.
Hold on. I'm going to put you on mute to see if that helps. All right. Can you hear me? Okay. So, Courtney, I've been a lawyer. This December will be 36 years. Okay. And from just looking at you on the screen, you're probably not even 36 years old. I've been doing it a long time. And the longer I do it, the more I become attuned to, being a better lawyer for people. And one of the things that somebody in the comments, and I think Ms. G alluded to, is you have to be focused on getting your kids back. Right now, I feel from listening to you, you are focused on a couple of things, and it's not getting your kids back. You could kind of go out into left field on the fact that what your husband is getting, or your ex-husband, or the father is getting out of this case. And although you may be correct about the unfair treatment, it's not going to help you get your children back. I was a lawyer maybe 10 years before I ever realized that what they're doing, how they're treating you unfairly, is not going to help you get your children back. And until you realize that, you'll never have a really strategic plan. You have to focus on getting your children back. There was somebody in the comments, I think it was Rise Up. She's watching us on one of the Facebook channels. She said it exactly correct. Given the procedural posture of your case, which makes a big difference, you should be focusing on what the judge has ordered. All right. A long time ago, I told Miss G this. The judge had ordered things that were unfair in a case. And then the client came to us about 3 months later. And the client asked me, do I have to do what the judge ordered, even though I believe it's unfair? And the answer to that question was yes. The reason why you have to do it is because you didn't appeal, or you didn't win your appeal. And their comment to me was, well, I didn't even know how to appeal or that I could appeal. And that's unfortunate. I've told this story a few times, but when I was in my first year of law school, I had a professor who taught me this, and I found it very unfair. But as I was a lawyer, I saw it, and it's true. And there's nothing that we can do to change this. And the rule that she told me was, ignorance of the law is no excuse. Do you realize how harsh that is? But we're under the English common law system, and that's the rule everyone operates on. That is our legal system. So that's why people call lawyers, to find out what to do and how to do it. Now, at another time, not now because it's getting late, I'd love to speak to you on the telephone and give you some more thoughts about your case. But young lady, you have to focus now on getting your children back. Okay? And when we talk the next time privately, we're not ever going to mention your husband or the father's name. You know why? Because the case is CPS versus Courtney Ashton. It's not father versus Courtney Ashton. It's CPS versus Courtney Ashton. And Courtney better figure out how to beat CPS. Forget about the father. He has nothing to do with you getting the children back. One of the things that I think that you thought about the court system, it was a place where you were going to find justice as you believe justice to be defined. And I'm here to tell you that just from listening to you and talking to thousands of people over my career, justice isn't what you think it is. Now, I don't know where you got your definition of justice, but somehow you've made that decision in your mind and you believe it. But a lot of things for me, especially, a lot of things I believe, they're not true. And I think this is one of those life situations where you're going to find out justice isn't what you thought it was. Now, there's nothing you can do about it at this stage of the game, right? We're not here to change laws. We're not here to make judges do certain things. We're here to get your children back. So, whatever you think about the social worker, whatever you think about the judge, whatever you think about the father, put it aside for a moment. And the next time we talk privately, we need to talk about getting your children back. Okay? I had you on mute.
All I was trying to say is I don't want it to seem like my children, I have been lost without my children, and I don't have a vendetta against anybody, but I didn't get a fair start in this, and I'm not trying to hold on and harp on that. I would love to move forward. I would have started my family plan. I would have got on the ball, but I was not, they made me decide that I didn't agree with the family plan and told me that I could not start working on it if I was not going to do it without a lawyer. You're right. My idea of justice was that I had a right to an attorney, which I read, I sat here and I made, crazy amount of notes about my rights and the statutes. And I'm not a lawyer though. You're right. You have way more experience. I just want to get my babies back. And I don't want any animosity with anybody, but I have been.
Okay, hold on, Courtney. Hold on. Because we are definitely running out of time. I'm going to talk to you privately. Miss G will set that up for you. Okay? She has access to my calendar now. And so she'll type that in for you. But I want to talk to you about trying to come up
I
with
don't have access to your calendar.
Oh, I thought they arranged that for you today.
No, not yet.
Okay. Well, hopefully by tomorrow she'll have access to my calendar. But what I want to tell you, Courtney, is you and I are going to talk, and we're going to have a much different conversation than what we had tonight. We're not going to be talking about the judge. We're not going to be talking about the social workers. We're not going to be talking about the father. We're going to be talking about you and what you need to do to get your children back. Does that sound fair? Hold on a second.
That's all I've wanted was, I haven't been advised. My lawyer hasn't been doing what they're supposed to do. I haven't had help. I didn't never combat the system, but I was just upset because I was being abused by it. I just wanted.
Okay, but and you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to give you some pointers on how to talk to your lawyer, your court-appointed lawyer, and how to use or get the most out of your court-appointed lawyer. Okay? All right. Miss G, I want to thank you for being a co-host tonight. Miss Cassandra, wherever you are in the world, I'd like to thank you for being on with us tonight. And Courtney, I want to thank you for being on tonight as our very special guest and sharing your case and your story. Folks, we'll be on again tomorrow night at 7 p.m. So we'll see you then. Good night, all.
Good night.